I'm not that cynical. I was 50-50. It's like commercial no, but true love exists, right? Like that was my eventual point. So thanks for that, selling me out. Right. Okay, my name's David. As you can tell, I'm supposed to not look up there because then you can't hear me apparently. I play lots of games, and one in particular, I tend to be obsessive about one at a time. And this has been the one that's been a bit of an obsession for about a year. I think it's kind of more important than just being a game as well, which is kind of what I want to talk about it. 'Cause it's really cool, which you'll see. So Ed, whenever you're ready. Yeah, I play a card game called Android NetRunner, and it's a science fiction game which is a combination of like skills and luck, and this major element of like bluffing and information. So the designer deliberately did this to try and make you use the same skills as poker, using body language, and you're trying to read your opponent. There's other reasons as well. It has this it talks about these themes which are really important, these science fiction themes, which are cool to explore, and by playing it, you tend to explore them. So you'll see. Oh yeah, it's got emergent gameplay, which I'll go into. So it's an asymmetrical game. One of you plays one side and the other, and they're not the same. It's a deck-based game, so you randomly draw cards, and then when you draw crap, you have to pretend you've drawn incredible cards. And then one of you sort of attacks, and one of you kind of defends. So it's science fiction. So you have these corporations that do anything from cloning and genetic research to like biotic labor, so like robots, to like information control through the media. These guys are after scoring their agendas, which could be really good, like medical breakthroughs, or bad, like attacking people. Which are these guys? Which are the runners? Which are like hackers? So one of you plays a hacker. You got three flavors. You got like the artists in the middle, called shapers. You've got the criminals who just like try and steal stuff, and then you've got the anarchs who blow everything up, which are obviously my personal favorite. That's a typical game kind of layout. You've got the corporation defending themselves and trying to push forward with these agendas, whatever they may be, like it's nefarious or kind of okay. And then you've got the runners trying to attack, stop them, prevent them, and steal and stop what they're doing most of the time. That's how the game tends to play out. It touches upon three really important currencies, which are money, time, and information, which are kind of what I consider like the currencies of life as is. And this is what you'll use to figure out how you're going to interact with each other and who's in the lead, I guess, at any given point. First one is money. Now, in life, we tend to earn it all in a similar manner, but in NetRunner, you have to do things like invest in assets or use advertising as a corporation, or you have to just steal it as the runner, or like hit up your contacts, or even work a day job, which I just won't. That's the worst way. And then there's time as well, which we're kind of fixed. We're born, we die, and you've got that much time. But because this is cyberpunk, you get like to manipulate time either through pulling an all-nighter or just jabbing drugs into yourself so you move faster, just the anarchic way. And then there's information as well, like this is a main mechanic of the game where you're constantly trying to guess what the other person's doing, and if you guess right, you can do really well, and if you guess badly, it goes really badly, like death sometimes. And there are ways of kind of exposing it, which most of the game is played there. Now, it's science fiction, and science fiction is kind of what they call like the literature of the future, right? It's really, really important. It's kind of this somewhere between speculative nonsense and complete prophecy. And so you get this dichotomy between like childish games and actually this is unbelievably really important and good. It's a cyberpunk game. So cyberpunk is the one that's been the most prevalent for like 30 years. Cyberpunk was started with like Neuromancer in the 80s, and it spoke of the internet, AIs, human enhancement. And human enhancement is really important. So the internet itself has obviously emerged as this massive force in the last 20 years, and it was speculated on in Cyberpunk. It was cyberspace at the time. You remember all that cheesy virtual reality stuff? So that's kind of when NetRunner's played in that slightly cheesier, like fully immersive virtual reality. But the internet as a force is obviously a very important modern thing, and this is how we interact with it. And at the moment, we still use these devices that are very like over there, like we touch them. But you'll see there's an Oculus Rift up in the left there, which is like virtual reality is making a comeback, and obviously we're going to get more and more immersed in this world. It's like another world we use. And that's where it links to transhumanism, which is the point of transhumanism is it's got all this positive message about how all of these themes that come from cyberpunk, which is typically dystopic, can actually be used for this kind of greater good where you've got human enhancement. You've got this notion of life extension, like we shouldn't have to die is a major theme. And that's why I think the themes in NetRunner are really important. It's this kind of visionary thing that comes out of science fiction where you can explore not like global warming and financial crisis, but like exploring space and sustainable energy growth. Like you've got these kind of visions. So yeah, you can see some really high level sci-fi stuff going on there. It's really complicated. Yeah, I don't really, who's winning? I can't, hang on. But yeah, that's how it like looks. Like what's going on there is a load of cards on a board, but what's going on in my head right now is I can't believe he's built that server. That's ridiculous. Here's an example. Like this is Wayland. So that for their space program, they're going to frack the land to earn more money. Reina Roja, the cyber, like badass anarch, doesn't like this. She corrodes her way through an ice wall, and in response, the corporation find her, blow up 4 city blocks, forgetting she's made of metal and doesn't get hurt by it. And that's like 2 turns in NetRunner. So yeah, this is my typical Tuesday night, right? You get the cards, you get them together, you build something, and then you go down the pub and you sit there and you draw 5 crap cards and pretend they're amazing. And then you go into cyberspace with your opponent. You sit there and you both get fully immersed. And so this whole thing builds to not just be this kind of really nerdy card game, which it is, but it's also really cool. But it's also this exploration of the themes, and that's really important. Like by individuating these elements into the resources and like the mechanics, when you play the game, these stories come out of it that speak to these really cool themes that I think are really important for the future. And I think that's the end of the talk.